Hey guys, what's going on? It's Carlos with Luck Favors the Prepared, and in today's video, we're making my Jeep legal again. So I'm sure you guys are aware, the factory Jeep JK grill has a turn signal in the bottom corner. When I was making this grill, one of the things that was important to me for the JL look was removing the turn signal that would normally be in that bottom corner. So now we have a dilemma where I don't have any turn signals up front. But I think I have a solution. Bear with me. And my solution to that problem is the Quake LED Jeep JL fender chop kit. For those of you that have a JL Rubicon with the Highline fenders, the Quake LED kit is going to be a direct bolt-on after you do the fender chop. However, as far as I'm aware, this is going to be the first time anything like this has been attempted on a JK. So because of that, we're going to have to modify a few things to make this work. Now, I'll go ahead and show you fitment-wise. I believe the light itself is going to work perfectly with the Fiberworks front fender. However, the bracket that comes with the Quake LED kit can't be used at all. So to remedy that, I picked up a small piece of aluminum, and I'm gonna create my own bracket system that's gonna allow that to mount to the Fiberworks fenders. Now, as part of this, I'll also go through and discuss how I'm wiring in the power to the light itself. On a JL, this is all gonna be plug and play. On a JK, well, it's not. So as you can see, the light itself should fit pretty well with the cut that I made on the fenders. The kit originally from Quake LED comes with this bracket system that the light itself bolts to. This bracket serves as a fender support after you do the Rubicon chop to it. With these fiberglass fenders, I'm not gonna need any extra support. I simply need to find a way to make the light itself stick to the fender. Okay, so obviously I'm gonna have to trim up the aluminum and make a couple bends so that this will actually be bolted to the fender itself. This side, there's a small lip on the inside here, and I think what I'm gonna do is have this start to pinch the fender itself to the light. And so you guys can see what I'm talking about, right here is actually a little bit of a lip, and I think that's gonna be where I'm gonna pinch on the outside and maybe throw some double-sided tape just to seal that off. What I just did here was marking where I'm gonna need to bend for the inside here, and the outside mark is gonna be my cut mark so that I can just use the rest of this on the other side. Now, in the most scientific way possible, I'm gonna use this C-clamp to hold this so I can make my bend in this incredibly thin piece of aluminum. And there you have it. So yeah, that was pretty straightforward. Now to test fit. All right, so I got the bracket just about ready. What I am gonna end up doing is drilling a small hole here, and then through the fender, I'm actually gonna bolt a button head, a small button head through that so that it'll actually hold this end in place. This end is gonna be clamped down by tightening this screw to the fender itself. It certainly doesn't look pretty, but lucky for me, this goes under the fender and you're never gonna see it again. All right, so we got it all mounted up. Now, as you can tell, there's a slight gap. This part of that is gonna be just from me when I did the chop on the fenders themselves. It's not exactly perfect, so I may take this back off and just clean up that edge a little bit. I did already have them painted, so it's a little unfortunate. But as you can see, I went ahead, so this side is pinched in up here, and it's actually really tight. That's not gonna go anywhere. And this side, I added a really small button head just to hold that up there. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and paint that black, and that really should blend in pretty well. And then once that's painted, you won't even notice that it's there. As far as how it looks on that front edge, I'd say it's pretty spot on. Now just to recreate it on the other side, and then we'll get to wiring. So the driver's side came together the same way that the passenger side did. All in all, I would say it took me probably an hour to make both brackets. I know that kind of seems like a lot for what it is. But again, I'm starting from scratch and trying to make two things work together that weren't designed for each other. So here's how it looks. I got the second light fitted up. Same deal on both. I was able to use just one additional bolt there, and then they're both sitting pretty flush, or about as flush as it's gonna get to make that fitment work. And now to tackle the wiring. This harness is certainly not going to work. What I'm going to have to do is find out what each of these individual wires power, and then find a way to connect that into the factory JK. Now, I do still have my factory JK turn signal plug. So I was going through my pile of parts the other day, and I actually happen to have a cheap set of LED turn signals. So what I'm probably going to do is end up stealing this harness from the LED, tossing those because they'll be no good to me anymore, and connecting in my turn signal and my white running light to this harness. So I didn't want to bore you with all the wiring, so I went ahead and just did a quick time lapse of that. So without taking up any more time, let's get to the final install and see how it looks. Time to go hit the switch. So it's the next day. Got a little bit late on us last night. I did manage to get a couple night shots of this so you guys could see them in action, but I, for one, think they turned out awesome. And most importantly, now I've got front turn signals again. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you haven't already and you want to, hit the subscribe button. Feel free to check out my Instagram @aguyWithAJeep and my company Instagram @LuckFavorsThePrepared. Both of those are going to be linked down in the description. I've got a great video coming up for you next week, so we'll see you next time.